Welcome to the She Wins podcast. I'm your host, Heather Sumlin, and today I have Laura Ollinger. She is a parent and teen coach, and we're going to talk about what does that mean, what does she do, and how does she influence not only parents but the teens to make decisions in line with their goals. Okay, Laura, tell us a little bit about you. How did you get started in confidence coaching or parent and teen coaching?
Yeah, man, such a good question. Well, I mean, let's start with back when my daughter was in elementary school. She was having a lot of anxiety, social anxiety specifically, and I was just trying to figure out how to help her. And then simultaneously, we had a really bad tragedy in my family. My nephew took his life at the age of 20 years old. And so
Wow.
that's was like obviously just like this massive wake up call for me. It just seemed like the perfect time for me I was already becoming a health coach and a life coach, and was getting a master's degree, and I knew I was going to be doing something. And that was just like when my light bulb went off and I said, I know what I want to do. And so that's when I knew I wanted to help teens with kind of anxiety was my initial focus. And so when you think of like the opposite of anxiety, it's confidence, right? Or it's calmness, or kind of a calm confidence. That's what, anytime I'm working with a teenager, I always say, what do you want? Like, what do you want for your life? Like, why are we here? Why are we working together? Because the parent will hire me, and the parent gives me their version. And then
Right.
I get with the teenager and I say, why are we here? What would you like? And we kind of have a conversation. But what it always boils down to, I swear, 99.9% of the time, they say, I want to feel calm and confident. And so
Yes.
because of that, that's just what I've built my career off of, as well as the parenting side, because man, parents have a big role to play. I mean, and as a mom of four myself, I realize, and they're four teenagers now, I realize just how important of a role that we play, because I can meet with a client once a week, as a coach, but they're spending the rest of the week with their parents. So
Right.
if I'm not coaching the parents as well, then it's like we're kind of losing on that potential time that they could be gaining those skills. So that's kind of the story.
So, do you have the parents join the teen in some of your sessions, or do you treat them as two separate clients?
Generally, I do separate. However, I do offer if there's kind of conflict, like outward conflict, or just a lot of frustration that's built up. It's actually one of my very favorite things to do, to bring them together. And I just say, I'm just a third party here. I'm not choosing sides. I just help them navigate that conflict. So yeah, a little bit of both.
So, how long have you been doing this?
For about 5 years now.
Nice. Okay. What is I don't know, the biggest aha moment that you've seen so far in the years you've been doing it?
Good question, man. One is just the striking similarity of a pattern that I hear. It's just these days, girls and teenagers, I do work with boys as well, but I kind of want to go with the girls right now. The striking similarity with what they all say. And then I tell them that I'm like, I wish you guys could hear each other talk, because they're all saying the same thing. So I think that's the aha, right? Just in itself, is that everyone kind of struggles with the same things, right? We're all kind of within, the certain age brackets, like the elementary school, the middle school girls, the high school girls. It's just that stage of life where they're all kind of, and some of them are more outward about speaking about it, and others really keep it private. So I think just the aha moment is this, that we are all kind of human and we all experience certain emotions in certain situations. And it's the ones who kind of lean into that and kind of learn to get the skills to overcome those are the ones that are really going to have some great success. And I would have to say, I really wanted to give the other aha moment to that kind of parent teen conflict that I see, which is just so, it's just everybody wants the same thing, but they don't know how to go about getting it, because the communication is just different. So I like to give specific examples. So and my clients know that it's very anonymous, but I just share kind of like loosely things that are based off of them. But for example, I had I think she started working with me when she was in 10th grade, but this was about maybe her junior year, and her parents really thought she needed to be extremely self-sufficient with like making her breakfast, making her lunch, getting herself out the door without any help. And there was just this constant conflict with she's kind of a picky eater, and so dealing in the kitchen, and she says, oh, I don't know how to make anything, and she was kind of just like playing this I don't want to put a label on it, but just she was so overwhelmed with the rest of her life. She was a very high achiever, very high in academics. She was really excelled in her extracurriculars. And so this was the one area where she's just like, I don't know, right?
Yeah.
And so the mom just thought, well, gosh, if she's so smart in school, why can't she figure out how to make a breakfast taco? Or why can't she figure out, right, like these things? And so what I got on, and just this aha moment, was helping them see the other person's perspective and helping the daughter see, okay, I get my mom's frustrated because I am this type achiever and I don't know how to do this. And then having the mom see the daughter's perspective, which is she learns best by demonstration. And so that was like an aha moment where if the mom can show her how to do it, not like tell her or not get mad or not, but just say, this is simply how you do it, then that was such a great example where then everything was fine after that. It's like the problem took care of itself. There was just that little breakdown in communication.
Do you find that the biggest challenges with communication come from misunderstanding or assumptions or not meeting unsaid expectations?
Yes, everything that you just said, all of the above.
Because that's what I find too. Yeah.
It's kind of not being able to put yourself in the other person's shoes. But then it's generally also just a different set of values. So, for example, I'll keep going with this same family because it's just so easy to, like, the dad, his value was a clean bedroom because he grew up in a military household, and it was like that. You're just not allowed to not have it had to be perfect. And so, but this girl, she was exhausted because, like I said, she was a high achiever. And so that's a different set of values. For her, it was more important to get the grades, to do her extracurriculars. And that took, consuming a lot of time. She would be tired and she didn't clean her room. And plus she was a creative person too. So it was like that, just a different set of values. And so as far as like in a family and how to support your children as a mom, or if you're a kid and you're like trying to understand why does my mom want this? It's like, it's because they have a different set of values. What is important to them is different than what's important to me. And how can we compromise on that?
I think that's so smart. If I would have held my kids to some sort of unrealistic room standard, we would still be arguing to this day. And I mean, not to say that we didn't demand that there'll be some sort of effort made, but at the end of the day, I mean, sometimes you just have to take the win. Whatever that win is, these small wins matter. So yes. Tell me, what is a defining moment in your life that maybe, and maybe it was your nephew taking his life or something else, but what was a defining moment for you?
Man, yeah, there's so many. And I really like to spend a lot of time reflecting on my defining moments as a teenager, since that's the audience I work with the most. And I do speaking to groups of teenagers. And so there were two. And the first one was when I was in 8th grade. All my friends were trying out for the school play. And I wouldn't say I was particularly skilled at acting, but I just wanted to do it because all of them were doing it. And of course it's not of course, but they all made the play and I didn't. And I was devastated. And so I remember going home and I remember laying in my bed and just feeling really sad. And the defining moment was actually how my mom handled the situation. It wasn't even actually what I did. It was how she handled it. And that is how I've modeled, or how I've developed how I want to parent based off of what I wish she would have done instead of what she did do. So she didn't handle it great. And the thing was, I realize now I've done a lot of, kind of reflection on that. She was trying to support me. And what she said was, what did the other girls do that you didn't do? And that was just like a knife in my heart. Like I was like, that just made me feel so awful because that was not what was helpful at the time. What would have been maybe helpful was for her to just empathize with how I was feeling, which is,
Mm-hmm.
you're so sad right now. I totally, I understand. It makes sense. Like you're feeling
Right.
sad because you feel left out or you feel, whatever the feeling that you might think it is. And then she could have said like, is that right? Is that how you feel? And then allow me kind of a voice to kind of share where I was. So to me, that's so pivotal because as much as I know in my heart that she was trying to be supportive, I feel like it's so important to choose your words very carefully as a mother. And that helped me so
Mm-hmm.
much. And I applied that principle very recently. My daughter didn't make the volleyball team.
Oh.
And I thought, okay, this is my that chance, that this is the one I've been waiting for. And so I found myself just really being rather quiet and kind of giving her space
Mm-hmm.
to see what she wanted to share, to see how she wanted to share it, to see if she wanted to talk about it. And if she didn't, that's okay too, right? So to me, that was just like a defining moment because you know, it builds character to not win. It builds resilience and it builds grit. And honestly, I can now say I'm thankful for that because that led to a series of events that now I am who I am today because of that. But also that lesson that I learned was being that caring, supportive adult. Again, those words, you just need to choose them wisely. We don't have to rush in to necessarily try to fix it. There is no fixing it. If I didn't make it, I didn't make it. It's not like she could make me somehow magically be part of the play. But it's just so important to like handle that carefully.
Oh, I love that. What was the second one?
Okay, I'm glad you asked because, again, and this is, requires some vulnerability with me because I'm not proud of this. And I had never told anyone this until very recently, but I started adding it to my speeches and my presentations, which is I was terrified to be any type of public speaker. I never wanted to give the presentations in front of class, which, by the way, every client and even my own kids, say the same thing. Oh, we hate standing up in front of the audience. I'm like, get it, been there, done that. Well, for whatever reason, a series of things that happened led me to run for senior class president.
You
Well,
don't
if
have a
you're going to
choice
run
but
for
to get up
senior
in
class
front.
president, what
Yes.
do you have to do?
You have to talk to the
You have to
class.
stand up and give a speech in front of the entire senior class. And I didn't really know how I was going to handle it. I just figured, I could get through it. And, then I was running against two other people and maybe I would win. Well, the part that I just didn't account for was how unprepared I was for that and how scary I realized that idea felt. And so what I did was I ended up resorting to sneaking in some alcohol to my high school,
Oh,
and I
wow.
drank it right before my speech. And this is not a good idea, by the way. I always want to give the huge asterisks. Hear me when I say that was a terrible idea. So, I mean, I was able to get through the speech. It's not like I was drunk or anything like that. I was able to give the speech. I survived. But what that did was it damaged me so much internally because then for like the next 30 years, basically, I always knew that was how I did end up winning, by the way. I
Oh,
won the
wow.
election, but I thought it's not that like, I don't want to use the word cheated, but like that wasn't honest of me, right?
Right.
Like I guess you could use that. I don't know how to define it, but all I know is that wasn't the real me. That wasn't authentic. I didn't, give the speech in a natural way. And so that has damaged me because I thought, gosh, if I didn't have the confidence to get up there and give that speech, then maybe I just shouldn't have been running in the first place. Right. And so it just has had this like weight on me and it's really affected me quite deeply.
Well, and honestly, if someone would have caught you, you wouldn't have
Yeah.
won. And
I
so,
probably would have, I definitely would have been out of the election, but yeah, I
yeah.
probably would have had some severe consequences for sure.
And so then it's really, are you standing in integrity or not? And so then that's hard. And we've all made, maybe not that specific mistake, but we have all made mistakes where our choices are not in line with our goals. And it's so important. I think that would be the teaching point to me based on your story, is just really making sure that your decisions are in line with your goals. If you want to actually, lead the student body, then lead with integrity. If you want to actually like reach whatever that goal is, make sure that those decisions that you've made are in line. I've had times when I haven't made the decision that's in line with the goals, and then the goals disappear because I can no longer pursue them because I made choices that kept me from being able to pursue them. And it's a difficult lesson, but it's a good one.
I agree. I again, it's like I almost cringe saying it out loud because it just sounds ugh. But at the same time, yeah, I did learn something, which is kind of what you described, is just have integrity with yourself, and yeah, set yourself up where you don't feel like you have to do something that's not you.
Well, and going back to your other defining moment with your mom, basically saying what did the other girls do that you didn't do? And I think as parents, you made a really good point where you're saying, wait a minute, it's not about what someone else did. It's about setting with your child while they're having these feelings, letting them feel them, and being that safe space for them to talk and for them to open up.
Yes.
And so maybe that's a really good thing for parents to walk away knowing that if your child didn't get what they went for, and they didn't practice or they didn't prepare or they didn't, what they messed up on, that doesn't mean that that's the right time to clue them in.
Right. Right. Because here's the thing, as parents, we're sad too. Like we're feeling the sadness too. And so it's important at that time to realize that we're not best friends with our child, and that's not the time to buddy and commiserate, right? Like this is the time where you are the leader, and so you are, so like you said, the safe space, and so you almost just have to hold that space open for them. And it's not time for you to get into your feelings, and part of that would be like that problem solving, which is, why did the other kid, what did the other kids do, or why, or what happened, right? Like, did you not prepare enough? Did you not study enough? Right? And like to get into the nitty gritty of the why, it's just not the time, like you said.
So what do you wish? Okay, so you've worked with all of these teens and parents. What do you wish that teenagers understood?
I think they have so much that they don't see. So what I wish they could see themselves the way their parents see them. I wish they could see themselves the way I see them. I see them with possessing so much talent, so much empathy, so much emotional intelligence, so many skills, if they could just kind of own that, and also be okay with there's things they don't know or they haven't yet learned, and that's okay. So it's kind of just like being comfortable in their own skin with where they are right now. I just wish they could see that.
Okay, so what is standing in the way in your experience and for your perspective? Because I have my own set of thoughts, but how much does the glowing rectangle that they put in their pocket that they spend all their time on affect their ability to focus back on themselves and to see those strengths and their potential?
Yeah. Whoa, that's a big one. That is certainly a big part of it, certainly a huge part of it. And because here's what we know, what you put in is what comes out, right? So if you're feeding your mind with things that don't make you feel good, of course you're not going to feel good, right? Because it's what you're feeding yourself. But the thing that's getting in the way is really fear. And that's what I kind of like base everything off of. There's that primal sense of belonging that we all have. And so that opposite of that belonging is that fear of rejection. And so when you think about it, back in our, earlier human days, we were living in, tribes or groups where we were literally dependent on each other for survival. And if you did something that wasn't good, you would get kicked out and you wouldn't have protection or shelter or food or whatever that might be. And so that is why it's almost like hardwired into humans to want approval from others and want to be part of a group and want to be included or want to be accepted, because we have that innate sense to like feel belonging. And so the opposite of that, like I said, is that fear of rejection. And then there's other versions of fear that, there's fear of success, there's fear of failure, there's all different kind of like variations of fear, but they all go back to that fear of rejection.
I feel like we were made to be in community.
Mm-hmm.
And so however people look at that, but when you believe that you don't have a community or you don't see it, I feel like oftentimes there is community available for you. You're just not reaching out to the right community that will accept you.
Yes.
I see that with teenagers and they need to go find it. They need to really look for who has my same values, who will appreciate me. And does it have to be the people that I've always hung out with, or can it be somebody new?
Right. Right. And taking those little bit of healthy risks. Like I'm big on building confidence through healthy risks, like small steps.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that small step might be going to hang out with, the Wednesday night youth group, or it might be going to hang out with a group outside of your normal routine. So yeah, finding those people. And that's where you can start to, like you're saying, build that community, feel valued. And then it's honestly, you don't have to work so hard, right? Like it shouldn't be so time consuming and energy consuming to try to get approval of others. When we're in the right relationships, it just flows naturally. We love our friends, right? We there's things about them that are just awesome, and we want our people to say those things about us as well.
Okay, so I asked you what teenagers should know. What should parents know, specifically moms, when they're raising teens?
Yeah. To it's this very similar version, which is we're kind of also living out like our fear scenario, which is our daughter included? Are they accepted? Are they well liked? Are they doing enough? Are they getting good enough grades? Why? Because if they are doing all the right things, then I as a mom can feel good about myself. So that's like the X, like, nah, that's the wrong. Right. And so what we want to do is like model a really healthy sense of self-worth, that like I am a valuable person. I like myself. I feel good about myself because I have these set of values and I live by them, and I'm a great role model. And so therefore, because I believe in myself, yes, I need to have community, and I need friendships, and I need support, but I'm not desperately looking for the approval of the other moms. I'm not desperately concerned about their opinion of me or their opinion of my daughter. I'm right. Because the thing is, everybody's kind of just worried about themselves. Everybody's kind of worried about their own kids. And so we kind of live in this like, oh, what are other people going to think of my kid? Because that reflects on me. And if we can get a little space there as well, you could be like literally an amazing parent and your child will still mess up, right? Because they're a child, they're a kid, they're human. Like we as adults, we still mess up. And to know that that's okay, and to not like let that like have a effect, like trigger or shame or embarrassment. Like, yeah, maybe I'm embarrassed if my kid got something, I can't think of an example, but right, where they got in trouble and it was somehow public. That would be embarrassing, right? Like then people are gonna judge me. But to be kind of maybe okay with that and know, hey, I've worked really hard with my teenager. I'm a great mom. And sometimes kids just mess up. Sometimes mistakes happen.
So you have 4 kids.
Yes.
I want to know ages. And okay, I have 2 kids. My kids are 8 years apart. It's kind of like having 2 only kids, right? Because they kind of were in the household at different times to an extent. And so I feel like I cheated because I had them so far apart. But having 4 kids, all that are teenagers, how old are they? And when you have multiples, like what's your advice to someone who has that many teens under one roof? Besides save for college, like obviously there's gonna be.
Great question. So my oldest is a senior. She's 17. And then I have boys that are a sophomore and freshman in high school. And then my youngest daughter is in 7th grade. So 2 boys, 2 girls. The boys are in the middle. The girls are the bookends. And I would say my best advice is, as a very busy mom, it is hard to carve out that one-on-one time. And so therefore it's not like I'm like, oh, it's ice cream night with this kid and it's movie day with this kid, and right, like that's not how it's not realistic. For me, getting that time individually is very important, and for them to know that I see them,
Mm-hmm.
right, and that I'm not just like lumping them into a group, especially because the boys are, back to back grades. It's very easy for me to fall into the trap of, oh, the boys this, the boys that, the boys like this, and the thing is they both play football and they both play the same position and they have the same coach. But to see them as different individuals, I think is very important. It's something that I have to constantly work on. But again, those kind of like snippets of time where I can see them as an individual. And so sometimes that looks like a 5-minute conversation. Sometimes that looks like we're going to a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment, but it's just that one kid in the car. And that serves as my time with him. Like we're together. And especially with the boys, it doesn't always have to look like we're talking the whole time. Whereas mother-daughter, a lot of times it feels like, oh, in order to connect, we have to talk. For mother-son, it's not always about the talking. Sometimes it's about the understanding. So, hey, can you explain to me, with his position in football, what happened when you had that play and that guy was doing that, right? Like, explain to me something. Have your kids teach you something. Like, let them introduce you to their world. And the other reason why I feel pretty passionately about that is because that, again, where there is a pretty breakdown with mother-son a lot of times. I've had a lot of clients where actually I was just coaching the mom in a couple situations, and they were so concerned about the relationship with their son, and the son's not talking to them. And the kids like to play a lot of video games. And I know that there's a lot of girls listening to this, but the same kind of lesson applies. So I said to the mom, I said, well, what if you went to go play the video game with him? What if you had him teach you the video game so you could get that time with him and then have him show you something, right? Yes. So, and same with girls, maybe your daughter's into something or you're into something and your mom does, show her how it works. She wants to know, right? She kind of like, as moms, we're kind of out of this whole, technology. We try our best, but there's certain things we don't understand or we don't know, and we don't follow accounts. Like, we want to know so that we can connect with you and see what's important to you.
My son was really big into video games, and it was like my least most interesting thing. I never really cared, right, about video games, but I cared that he cared. And so then if we're going to play, Sonic the Hedgehog or Mario Kart or whatever it was that he wanted to play, every now and again, I would sit down with him and let him show me, like, what is it? How does it work? Let him beat me at it. He's going to beat me anyway. And just kind of have fun with it. And then when we bought him a Wii or something back when those were interesting and popular. And then the whole family is going to play, because if you don't take an invested interest in what your kids care about, they won't think you care about them.
Yes. Yes. You said that beautifully. Yes.
Oh my gosh. It's really hard. So if parents want to reach out to you to talk to their kids or to just learn more about what you do, or if a school wants to have you come in, I know you have a presentation that you do. So first of all, can you tell us more about your presentation that you do in schools? And secondly, how do people reach you?
Absolutely. So my presentation is called The Decider. And my presentation talks about, similar to what I said today, where when you ask me, like, what do these kids not see in themselves, or it's, they need to realize that they have the power in their own minds to make that decision, that they are worth it. And once you have that self-worth, which is that foundation piece built, everything stacks on top of that. Like, self-worth, to me, can solve, like, building a strong self-worth can solve so many problems. It can solve the bullying, it's cyberbullying, the violence, the even just any other type of like drama that is seen in schools where kids just feel unhappy and they feel excluded. Or, I hate to say, I'm not going to make a drastic claim, but I just feel like if people kind of got that piece, we would see such much more peace, much more happiness in schools. And where people can find me is my website, positivelyhealthycoaching.com. And there's a way you can schedule a consultation with me, just a free consultation, super simple. You just click the button and fill in your information. I'd love to chat with anybody.
Awesome. So here's what we're going to do. If you're not a Patreon member, join She Wins Solutions for Women Patreon, and we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive. And what I really want to do is have a conversation about some of the ways in which you have helped parents reach those teens that are a little bit lost or a little bit harder, or how do you get those teens to find a way to become included when they feel like they're excluded? I think those two topics would be really fun to tackle for our Patreon members. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
Okay, cool.